Hello everyone, welcome to episode 8 of James Dakin's 10 Minute Country. Today we are looking at the thorny problem with women in country music. The problem being that things appear to have got worse for women musicians in the 3 years since the infamous Tomatogate scandal of 2015. And we're looking at, some radio stations in America not playing any females, and the ones that do have this unwritten, unspoken rule that you should never play two women back to back on the radio, otherwise your listeners will desert you in droves. So it is a thorny problem, but let's have a quick reminder of what actually happened in Tomatogate back in 2015. Radio consultant Keith Hill delivered some research back then showing that just 19% of all the songs on country radio were by women. And he said, famously, or infamously, I suppose, if you want ratings on the radio, you need to take the females out. And this went viral, this went national. And it was compounded by his odd metaphor, where he said that women were the tomatoes of our salad, whilst the men were the lettuce. Struck me as being a bit weird, really. Tomatoes are much tastier and juicier and nicer and more interesting than lettuce ever is. Lettuce is just bland, and it's used to bulk out a salad. So it was an odd thing, but that's where the Tomatogate reference came from. It caused seismic ructions in the country world. Martina McBride even had tomato lover t-shirts made fairly soon after the comments were issued. I don't know if you could use a different metaphor. I don't know whether a burger might be better, in that the men are the meat and the women are the gherkins on top, lightly sparingly added on top to bring a bit of zing and taste to bland meat. I don't know whether that would be a better metaphor than the salad, but it's just my issue there. As it was, Tomatogate proved a thing back in the bro country height of 2015. But the problem seems to be that things have actually got worse for women since 2015. Analysis of the charts for 2017 shows that only Carly Pearce, Kelsey Ballerini and Lauren Elena made it into the top 40 singles chart for the whole of 2017. So out of the top 40 songs last year, only 3 were by women. And the number of purely female songs on the charts have dropped by 2.6% to just 10.4%. And of the 89 artists that charted on Mediabase in 2017, only 14 of them were women. Yet the historical average since 1989 has been up around 25%. So it looks like, despite various social media campaigns and despite things people trying to make things better, it's actually got worse for women. So it's well worth looking at why do women not get played on country radio anymore. And I've come up with 2 main reasons. Cam has been a fierce advocate of greater female representation over the past couple of years, possibly even to the detriment of her own career right now. And she believes that she's been told the answer by radio executives. And one of these guys said to her that the majority of country listeners are female, but they prefer to listen to males so that they can dream about them being their boyfriends. So more women listen to country music on the radio, but they do not want to listen to other women. Cam believes that female consumers have been underestimated or incorrectly blamed for this. And she believes that, radio executives should, stop thinking of women in terms of their sexual desires. And she said that not all women listen to music the same way, and they need to find some new predictors. But Diane which for me is one of the two best songs of the year. In fact, both my favourite songs of the year so far have been sung by women. Diane being one of them, peaked at number 44 in the charts, and Cry Pretty, which I think is my favourite song of the year by Carrie Underwood so far, is just stalling now on the charts in the teens. Both of these songs are exceptional. Neither of them, Cam's didn't even crack the top 40, and I think some of the reason to do with that might be radio stations taking the huff with her and not playing Diane, even though it is one of the best songs of the year, because of her outspoken nature. A second reason is that women have been oddly competitive with each other in the past. In industry and in business, this is referred to as the Queen Bee syndrome. And this is where women keep each other down for fear of losing what they have to another woman. And that Queen Bee thing, you can find books on Amazon about it, in female friendships and the way that women have historically, behaved in industry. And that, I think, is now starting to change a little bit. Callie Shaw of the Song Suffragettes, and we'll talk a little bit about them in a minute, said that the coolest change since 2015 is how girls are treating each other, because she believes that it's no longer as competitive and that girls are rooting for other girls in a way that they haven't done before in country music. So I think they're the two biggest issues, but it's almost become like a catch-22 situation in that radio executives, who I imagine are largely male, believe that women do not want to listen to other women on the radio, and so they don't play women. And then, listeners don't get to hear women on the radio, and they just get used to hearing blokes, and they don't want to listen to women when women do get played. So how do we go about breaking this cycle? What are the solutions to women being played on the radio? Well, first of all, women have to support each other more. There are various movements across Nashville and on social media, like the aforementioned Song Suffragettes, which are a collective of female artists who play together, they release music, they support each other's solo careers. Callie Shaw is a sort of leading exponent of that group. There's been social media lobbying with the hashtag Let the Girls Play movement, which the likes of Cam and Mara Morris have supported. And again, individuals have started, like Callie said, to support each other and bring each other to the forefront of public perception. A second solution would be that radio stations need to take more risks and educate their listeners. There might be some short-term ratings pain, but ultimately, surely, long-term gain as listeners begin to hear the quality that female-driven music can have, that they've been denied up to now. iHeartRadio are leading the way right now. They've commissioned a regular show from Bobby Bones, which is the first one is going out the first week in September, that has a playlist which is just purely 100% female driven. Of course, as Saving Country Music said, we're not in the habit of tokenism or affirmative action. The quality should still be the biggest qualifier of what is played on the radio. But, some of the generic male crap that gets released and is actually in the top 20 right now is surely an embarrassment to the genre compared to some of the songs that women have written and performed and sang in that aren't even getting in the top 40. And again, I quote Cam's Diane as that. A third solution would be that the existing artists and major Nashville players can help educate their fans and live crowds by taking out more women on tour. Brad Paisley had Lindsay Ell out with him for a year. Carrie Underwood has just announced Maddie and Tay as her main support act. And people like Keith Urban have not only taken out artists like Kelsea Ballerini and going to take out Julia Michaels, but he's collaborated in the studio with the likes of Cassie Ashton, Gillian Jacqueline and Lindsay Ell too. So fair play to him. There should be a responsibility from the major Nashville artists to help in this situation. And of course, finally, I would suggest that if all that doesn't work, the final solution would be that women musicians should just move to the UK. Freed of the shackles of radio programmers, we have a flourishing market for female artists over here. Ashley McBryde, Cam, Casey Musgraves, Gillian Jacqueline, Lindsay Ell have all played here this last year to rave reviews. And we were singing back Maren Morris as My Church in the O2 Arena long before it ever became popular in the States. And we made her cry when she first played the C2C festival, because the whole arena sang it back to her at a time when the song was completely unknown in America. So there are some solutions. And I don't obviously advocate moving to England, but we do have a great market and a great respect and a great love of female artists over here that just doesn't seem to be there in across American FM radio right now. Of course, there are plenty of places women can play independently across the south of America, and there's a great respect for artists like Angelina Presley and Sunny Sweeney, Margot Price, and those type of people. But it's still not there, and it's almost getting worse. So what we've done to try and help out is that we have produced a Spotify playlist of 50 women. We're calling it our The Women of Country Music 2018 playlist, and there are 50 different female artists out there for you to listen to. Ranging from the likes of Carrie Underwood to people like Logan Brill, whose excellent new single "Giving Up" is high on our list of thoughts of single of the year right now. So give our playlist a listen to, see what you think, and I'm sure there'll be 3, 4, 5, 22, 35 artists on there that you might think, this is worth listening to going forward.